The first complaint came in quietly. A trembling voice message left at 2:13 a.m. I think my lawyer lied to me. No one listened at first, because the lawyer in question wasn't just anyone. He was Daniel Reyes, the man immigrants trusted when everything was on the line. Daniel had built his reputation on hope. He wore sharp suits, spoke with calm authority, and told desperate families exactly what they needed to hear. "You're safe now," he would say, leaning forward, hands folded. "I'll take care of everything." And they believed him, because when you're facing deportation, belief is all you have. His office walls were lined with framed success stories, smiling families, green cards held like trophies, thank you letters written in broken English but full of gratitude. To the outside world, Daniel Reyes was a hero, but behind closed doors, something didn't add up. Maria Alvarez was the first to notice. She had crossed the border with her son Mateo years ago, worked 2 jobs, stayed invisible, until one letter arrived. A notice. Deportation proceedings had begun. Terrified, she went to Daniel. "I don't want my son to grow up without me," she whispered. Daniel smiled softly. "I'll fix this." He charged her everything she had saved, and then some, but weeks turned into months. And every time she asked for updates, there was always a reason, a delay, a backlog, a missing document. Until one day, immigration officers showed up at her door. Maria didn't even know she had a court date because Daniel never told her. She was detained within hours. Her son left crying on the sidewalk. And Daniel, he never answered her calls again. That should have been the end of it. One tragic story in a system full of them. But then another complaint surfaced. And another. And another. A young man named Khalid. A couple expecting their first child. A father of 3 who had lived in the country for 17 years. All of them had one thing in common. Daniel Reyes. And all of them had missed court dates they never knew existed. At first, people blamed the system. Paperwork gets lost. Notices don't arrive. Mistakes happen. But this was a pattern. Enter Detective Laura Bennett. She wasn't assigned the case. She chose it because something about those files bothered her. Dozens of clients, all with the same lawyer, all claiming the same thing. He never told me. Laura started digging. Court records, case filings, email trails, and what she found made her stomach turn. Daniel Reyes had been filing paperwork, but not the right kind. He would submit incomplete applications, miss critical deadlines, sometimes not show up to court at all. And when notices were sent, he kept them, hidden, ignored, buried in a locked drawer in his office. But why? Why would a lawyer sabotage his own clients? The answer came from a bank statement, then another, then a series of transfers that didn't make sense. Large deposits from unfamiliar sources, foreign accounts, shell companies. Daniel Reyes wasn't just negligent. He was being paid to lose cases. Someone, somewhere, wanted these people gone. And Daniel was their inside man. The deeper Laura dug, the darker it got. These weren't random clients. They were targeted. People who had witnessed something. People who had information. People who were inconvenient. And Daniel, he made sure they disappeared legally. No noise, no resistance, just a missed hearing, and a one-way trip out of the country. Maria Alvarez was supposed to be one of them, but something went wrong. While in detention, Maria met a volunteer legal aid worker, someone who actually looked at her file, someone who noticed something strange. "There's no record of your attorney appearing in court," the worker said. Maria frowned. "He told me everything was fine." The workers shook their head. "No, he never showed up." That was the moment everything cracked open. Laura moved fast. She got a warrant, raided Daniel's office, and found the drawer. Dozens of unopened letters, court notices, final warnings, all addressed to his clients, all deliberately hidden. But the real evidence was on his computer. Encrypted files, payment records, messages. One line stood out, another one handled. Deportation confirmed. Daniel Reyes was arrested the next morning. No warning, No time to prepare. Just cold steel cuffs clicking into place. The media exploded. The immigration savior who wasn't. The lawyer who sold his clients. The man who profited from deportation. Families came forward. Stories poured out. Lives destroyed. Children separated. Dreams erased. And Maria? She watched it all from a detention center TV. Tears streaming down her face. Not just from anger, but from something deeper. Betrayal. Because the man she trusted most was the one who destroyed her. The trial was swift. The evidence overwhelming. Daniel tried to defend himself. Blamed pressure. Blamed the system. Blamed misunderstandings. But the jury didn't hesitate. Guilty on all counts. Fraud. Obstruction. Conspiracy. As he was led away, one reporter shouted, "Was it worth it?" Daniel paused, just for a second, and then said something that chilled everyone in the room. "You don't understand how this world works." But that wasn't the end, because justice was only just beginning. Months later, Maria's case was reopened. So were dozens of others. Deportations reversed. Families reunited. Lives slowly stitched back together. But the biggest twist came quietly, buried in a follow-up investigation. Those payments Daniel received, they didn't come from random sources. They were tied to a network, a powerful one that still hadn't been exposed. And just before Daniel was transferred to a maximum security prison, he made a call, one last call. "I stayed quiet," he said. A pause. "They owe me." The line went dead, and somewhere, someone listened. So here's the question no one can answer yet. Was Daniel Reyes the mastermind, or just a pawn? Because if he was just a pawn, then the real players are still out there, watching, waiting, and maybe still deciding who disappears next. If you made it this far, I want to hear from you. Do you think Daniel acted alone, or was he protecting something bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the truth might be darker than we think.